Was there ever a time, Henry, when he did any of these murders that you were immediately sorry for, outside of Becky and your mother?
No.
Not at all. These were just inanimate objects. They weren't really people. That's easier to take care of that way and handle it.
I never got involved with any of them as far as getting involved. I never wanted to know their names. I didn't want to know where they was from. I didn't want to know anything about them.
This is the Vic Feazell Show podcast, sponsored by Moroso Wood-Fired Pizzeria, Pinewood Coffee Roasters, and the law offices of Vic Feazell.
Hey, Vic.
Hi, Jonathan.
How are you today, man?
I'm good.
So we're here to talk about an interesting case/cases today.
Cases,
and these,
yeah.
These kind of intertwine.
They do.
But we're really going to focus on the Kate Rich murder. And this one is what really kicks off the Lucas saga.
This is what started it. Yeah. Kate Rich. Now, Becky, and I'm going to start calling her Frida.
Frida
Powell. Because that was her real name. Those names she was born with. It was Otis Toole and Henry that started calling her Becky.
Okay.
Matter of fact, even Otis, when he was wearing a dress, would sometimes go by the name Becky. At least that's what he told Mike Ferry when we interviewed him down in Florida.
Perfect.
Yeah. So talking about Kate Rich.
So these are two new players in Frida Powell or Becky Powell. We've talked about her in the past. She was a 15-year-old girl who was a relative of Otis Toole that Henry met in Florida, and she basically started palling around with Henry, right?
She did.
Is like his lover, or?
No, she was like his little sidekick.
Okay.
She was only 10 when they met.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 or 11, somewhere in there. Her mom had committed suicide, so she had gone to live with over with Otis Toole.
Okay.
And Toole's wife, and Frank was there, her little brother, Frank Powell. So, but I'm gonna call her Frida. If I start calling her Frida, maybe she'll email me.
There you go.
promo@withvic.com. Give me an email, because there's part of me that still believes you're out there and still alive. These two cases, Kate Rich and Becky Powell, and I know we're going to be talking about Kate, but they roll into each other.
Yeah, they really do.
They're the hardest ones for me. They're the most difficult, because every other case we look at, they're easy to dissect.
Yeah.
They're easy to take apart. It's easy to figure out Henry had nothing to do with those cases. Well, these are different.
These are different. And we've racked our brains on this, Vic, for weeks now, going through. Probably 500 plus pages of documents and transcripts and all sorts of reports trying to figure this thing out.
We were going to do this recording last week.
Yeah.
And sat down in front of the microphones, just staring at each other, going, I think we need to study this a little more. Even though we've both read the entire file 5 or 6 times, at least, we felt like we needed to study it more because there's so many contradictions.
Yes.
There are contradictions within the police reports.
Yep.
There are contradictions within the witness statements. People repeating things they heard. Police reports that state facts but don't give dates.
Yeah.
It's like, things are done better now that we have computers and we actually have templates with lines that people have to fill in before they go further. Like, what's the date of this, guys? Really, when did you have this conversation? Because it might be important someday. Let's keep accurate records here. And I want to say, we're keeping records on this podcast.
Yes.
When we finish an episode, we take those documents, the real pertinent ones, we post to the website, vicfeazell.com. And even the backup documents, we put in a file and we save them per episode, just in case we are ever called on the carpet about this stuff. Well, where'd you get this information? Right here. Look right here. It's right here in the records. And not only that, we've got tons of paper. But you have been working over the past, 10 years?
You mean 14?
14?
on the Vic
You've been
Feazell
working for
archive.
me for 14 years, but I mean digitizing this stuff and learning it.
It took, that was like my first 2 years with you.
Wow.
It took 2 years to fully digitize
Wow.
just the documents.
And then we've upgraded it a few times because, there'd be format changes and things like that.
This is true.
But not only do we have all this on paper, but we've got it all digitized. We've got it on external hard drives, and we have them hidden in secret places around the world.
It's actually true.
It's actually true. They're sort of like the crystal skulls, Have you heard of the crystal skulls?
Yes.
Yeah. Dan
Yes, I have.
Aykroyd has a vodka company, Crystal Head.
You say Dan Aykroyd?
Dan Aykroyd.
What?
Saturday Night Live, Dan Aykroyd. Ghostbusters, Dan Aykroyd. Yeah.
This is weird.
Google these crystal skulls sometimes. They've been located in strange places all over the world. Mexico, Tibet, one either in New Mexico or Arizona. Indigenous people have had them, and they're crystal. And you can't tell that they've been carved. They look like they've been polished. And scientists say to polish this down like this would take some kind of either alien technology or it would take hundreds of years of rubbing it with a cloth.
Really?
Yeah. So it's kind of weird. Although there are 2 of them in the Smithsonian, and the lady who runs the Smithsonian, or she's done, one of the curators there, has said she's studied them, and she thinks some really smart German in the 1800s carved them.
Yeah.
But how do you get them all over the place? How do you get them into Tibet and Mexico and New Mexico? Anyway, Dan Aykroyd, it's called Crystal Head vodka. He makes it in Canada. It's some of the purest
Makes it in
stuff
his
you can
bathtub.
drink. Yeah. It's made out of peaches. He's got peaches in it.
Really?
And then when
That's
they
delicious.
finish the product, they pour it over some kind of diamond. Yeah, they say that it's got some kind of filtration. And after several hundred barrels are poured over these diamonds, the diamonds start turning yellow. And then they have to go clean the diamonds. Yeah, it's a weird thing. Check it out sometimes. I would like to have Dan Aykroyd on our show.
Oh, that'd be so much
Wouldn't
fun.
that be great?
I love talking about the alien stuff. He's
Oh,
big into
man.
that.
Yeah, he's real big into that. He had a podcast with Joe Rogan recently where they spent a whole hour talking about the aliens. And I'm telling you, he can just rattle that stuff off the way that you can rattle off Lucas names. He knows every alien hunter that's ever been out there and every story that's ever been told.
That's
So anyway,
amazing.
back to hunting aliens. Gee whiz.
Speaking of hunting, facts.
Henry Lee Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of an alien.
Kind of.
But Kate Rich is what got it all started. Kate Rich was an elderly woman who lived in Ringold, Texas.
Ringold, Texas.
Ringold, up there around in Montague. She
Yes.
was in Sheriff Hound Dog Conway's jurisdiction.
And Texas Ranger.
Phil
Ryan's jurisdiction.
Texas Ranger Phil Ryan. And I think we mentioned on a previous podcast, or maybe it's going to be one to come, that Phil Ryan, after he retired from being a Texas Ranger, ran for sheriff and is now the sheriff out in Decatur.
Cool.
Ader from Decatur. Yeah. And this new so-called serial killer that's confessing to everything now, this Benny, whatever his name is.
His name is Samuel Little.
Samuel Little, that's right. I was getting him confused with Samuel Jackson before. Samuel Little. And Samuel Little is in Phil Ryan's jail out there in Decatur, being questioned by another Texas Ranger who, I want to believe him, but there's something about him that reminds me of Bill Clinton.
Well, there's something about the entire case here. It reminds me of Henry Lee Lucas.
Oh, my God, it does, doesn't it?
Yep. So
Even the artwork reminds me of Henry Lee.
yeah, his hand sketchings.
Yeah. And I noticed on 60 Minutes, he didn't have a strawberry milkshake. They're bringing him Starbucks.
Oh, for real?
Starbucks and pizzas in a box. And the ranger who looks like Bill Clinton is saying, well, we got to keep him happy. He's solving murders. The guy's voice even sounds a little like Bill Clinton.
Really?
Now, I really used to like Bill Clinton until the Monica Lewinsky thing, and I lost respect for him after that.
Yeah.
Gee whiz, man, you're
was
running
weird.
the country. Why can't we get decent people in that top office?
Well, that's a whole podcast in and of itself. We'll get to that at some point.
Yeah.
We'll take that on.
So, Henry and Becky, or Frida. Frida got put into a foster home, a children's home.
Yeah,
After
home.
Yeah, they took her out of the house and put her in that children's home. And she was afraid of it. She hated it. She was scared there, and she ran away.
Mm-hmm.
She came back to the house, and that's when. And she was afraid that CPS was going to come to the house and get her. And that's when Otis and Henry left with her for a little while, a couple weeks. They didn't go very far. I think neighboring county or something. But Otis said, I got to get back to Jacksonville. I'm a busy man. I got scrap metal to pick up. And
There's metal that
I got tricks to turn.
I could just see him out there like stealing hubcaps and those sewage plates.
Yeah, or breaking into people's air conditioners. Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
I remember when that became the fad, breaking into air conditioners, and everybody had to start putting those lock boxes around their air conditioners.
What was being taken from an air conditioner?
The copper wire and the copper pipes.
Really?
Yeah, by metal thieves. Yeah. Just
God.
mess up your $5,000 air conditioner so they can go down and sell $20 worth of scrap metal. If that,
What a waste.
So anyway, Becky was scared. Becky had been Henry's little pet, and I don't mean that in a sexual way because we've already talked about how Henry was stabbed when he was in prison.
Yeah.
And that stab wound went through his gut all the way down out his rectum. Made him impotent. It's in his medical records that he's impotent. I don't know why Boutwell never bothered to read his medical records.
Well, he probably did. He just didn't care.
Probably did. And I think that's why Henry, in every confession, claimed to have sex with him.
Yeah.
Even after they were dead.
Because it was something that was just so impossible.
Yeah, because he couldn't do it. I think he was figuring that eventually somebody would say, have you noticed that he always says he raped him, but Henry can't have sex?
Yeah.
Back then we didn't have DNA comparison. Now we have it. So a lot of these women that were raped and murdered, they're now finding out who killed them because of the DNA comparison.
Like our recent series on Rita Salazar.
Rita Salazar. They found the real killer. If you haven't listened to our series on Rita Salazar, listen to it. It's incredible.
And then listen to
Michael Jarrett.
Michael Jarrett. He's
Michael Jarrett,
who tied that baby up with a bow and solved it.
Yes, he did. He was a assistant DA down in Georgetown. And then he came up to Waco and worked for Abel Reyna. Up here was his first assistant. Tried a bunch of good cases. Retried Ed Graff.
Yes,
Now,
I can't wait to do that series.
Can't wait to do that. Michael's going to come back and talk with us about Ed Graff.
That's going to be awesome.
Because I convicted Ed Graff the first time.
Yeah.
And then the Court of Criminal Appeals reversed his when they reversed about 50 of them when they threw out all arson evidence. Just threw it out willy-nilly. Yeah. Threw out the baby with the bathwater. I'm going, come on, guys. Let's look at each of these cases individually. Yeah. Because evidence is evidence, and not all arson evidence is the same.
Right, right.
Plus, we had so much other evidence to convict Graff. We could have convicted him without the arson evidence. So anyway, Abel and Michael Jarrett take him to trial. They don't even use the arson evidence.
Yeah.
And by then, some of the little kids were grown up, and they remembered stuff that we didn't know because we didn't go talk to these little 6 and 7-year-old kids.
Right.
I wish we had.
All the abuse, right, that was going on at the house by Ed Graff.
Yeah, and so they had some more witnesses, and they convicted Ed Graff.
Yeah.
And now Ed Graff is already, he stood up in court, pled guilty, said, my only regret is that I didn't also kill my ex-wife.
And then let him go.
6 weeks later, he's out on parole.
Yep.
And he's living down the street from Colonel Jim Adams.
Yeah.
In Fredericksburg, Texas. Yeah. At least that's what we heard.
Yeah. I think he's in Kerrville.
Kerrville, Texas.
Both of them are in Kerrville.
Kerrville.
Weird, man.
Kerrville. We talked before about, well, never mind. Kerr's another word for a dog,
Oh, boy. I've never heard that.
I like Kerrville. I'm not saying anything bad about Kerrville. Kerrville's a wonderful town. Beautiful, beautiful scenery.
They have a good folk festival out there.
Good folk festival.
We went and played it one year with David Crosby.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was a headliner. We played after him.
I wish I had come down.
It was just him, but it's a great festival they have out there. Killer festival.
I love David Crosby, man. I love all those guys.
Yeah, man.
I'd like to go see Neil Young.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
tend to agree with you. But anywho, so Kate Rich
Yeah.
and Becky Powell.
Becky was scared. She didn't want to go back to the nursing home. CPS was looking. And so Henry and Becky just take off.
Okay.
They take off. She's a little older by then. I don't know, maybe 13, 12.
She's I want to say 14,
14.
15.
Yeah, because she was 15 when she went missing. Yeah. So they take off hitchhiking and end up
In California.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
So they make their way out, and they, just like what you said, they actually hitchhike all the way across the country. Why they're going out to California, I don't know. But they meet a couple by the last name Smart. And that's where they kind of settle in for a little bit. And the Smarts basically take care of them and, you know, kind of just ensure their well-being while they're out in California.
Treated them real nice. Let them stay in a garage apartment out back.
Right.
And Henry was doing work for Jack Smart.
Yes.
Yeah, refinishing furniture and doing some carpentry work. Jack had a little business on the side. Now, to show you how crazy Henry could get with the police, because he really just wanted to be, what was that word you used earlier? In the last episode? Ludicrous?
Yeah.
Yeah, ludicrous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he even said, yeah, you want to know what else we did? Now, me and Jack Smart, we did some armed robberies together, at least 5 or 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
No way. I mean, Jack, there's just no way. And he also claimed that he and Otis Toole had robbed some banks. Yeah. Yeah, when we're out killing all these women just to...
And yet they're still totally broke.
Still totally broke. And also, you know, robbing a bank is a federal offense. I really think there would have been some record of that.
Oh, God, yeah.
What town was that, Henry? Which bank was that, Henry?
Yeah, which one?
Yeah. You and Jack Smart did armed robberies. Where'd you do that, Henry? You know, come on.
Jeez.
You know, if they could have found some armed robbery that was never solved,
Yeah.
Henry would have confessed to that.
That's mine.
Yeah,
Mine.
that's mine.
Mine.
Yeah, whatever it was, I'd done it.
Oh, my God.
So they ended up out there with Jack Smart, and Jack's wife was named Obira.
Yep.
And Obira was one of Kate Rich's daughters.
Right.
Obira lived there in California with Jack, and Kate Rich lived in Montague County. And she lived by herself, and she was old, and she was overweight, and she had trouble walking by herself.
Yeah, she was like 80.
80, yeah. 80, overweight, and had trouble walking.
Yep.
Obira decides, you know, my mom could use some help. I got some relatives down in Montague County, but they're not watching Mom very well. Mm-hmm. I'm concerned about Mom. So they send Henry and Frida to Montague County.
Yep, they actually pay for the trip and everything.
Paid for the trip. Tell me what you know about that.
Well, they basically get there, and according to all the records that we have, they get there right about May 22nd. And when they get there, they say the house is just in total disrepair. It's filthy dirty in there. There's like animal feces all over the place. It's not a nice place. But Henry says, you know, we'll make it work. They start cleaning the house. Frida starts cleaning the house. Henry says he wants to fix some gutters. He really wants to basically fix up the property for
There's
her.
no food in the house.
Yeah, there's like no food in the house.
She's just been sitting there.
Just watching TV with a bunch of
watching
dogs.
TV with crap everywhere, and it smelled so bad you could hardly walk into the place. Now, keep in mind, Kate Rich had relatives living close by.
Yeah. They let her
All
live in
right.
that. Oof.
She had relatives there, but Obira and Jack have to pay for Henry and Frida to go there to take care of her.
From California.
From California. And when they get there, it is so bad that little Frida sits down and she writes a letter to Obira and Jack on May the 21st.
Ooh, do tell.
Yeah. How are you doing today? I hope you're fine. I'm just writing a few lines to say hello, and we miss both of you. Because, see,
That's sweet.
they got along with them.
Yeah.
You know, they thought they were sweet.
Well, frankly, everybody got along with them.
You know what they did?
I mean, I don't think we've ever seen anything that says, we hated those two, or we hated Henry, or...
I know.
Everybody's like, yeah, he was a cool dude.
Yeah.
He worked hard for one eye.
I know. The only ones that didn't like him were Sheriff Conway, because he was an easy suspect. Somebody new in town, and he had one eye. You know, He looked kind of shady.
He didn't.
Yeah. So Frida writes this letter to O'Bara, and she says, O'Bara, here's the truth about your mother. The money that Henry gave to your mother that your ex-husband and his wife got, if you want me to receive any more, you'll have to send it so that we can help fix up the house. There's no food here to eat. So the relatives in town, there's no food here to eat. Please don't send it direct to her. Now get this. Please don't send it direct to her because she will only give it to the other people and will not use it for herself or for the house. So that's the other relatives.
Right.
She does not have any money now. We are not doing too good, but we are trying to make it for now. So this is a poor little 15-year-old that's been scrubbing the place down. We have the bathroom and the kitchen temporarily fixed because we don't have the money to fix it permanently. The house needs all kinds of work all over. The pipes are completely bad. They're out from under the house. I'm using a garden hose to get water into the house.
Wow.
Tell Jack that when he can, try to get all the PVC pipe and connections he can and get it to us, and we'll fix it. So even if you don't want to send money, send PVC.
Yeah, send some material.
Yeah, send the material. We'll fix it. And Kate is not in good health. Henry said he will write later. She said HRS. Do you know what HRS is?
I don't.
Is paying a woman to clean the house 5 days a week, and said, but this place is worse. This place is worstier than any house could possibly be. I don't see how anybody could live in such inhumane conditions. He said, we'll do our best for your mom. Your mom sleeps on the sofa with all the dogs and cats. I'm doing my best in the house and to cook supper, and whenever we eat, the cats are on the table, and she treats the cats like human beings, and the dogs are on the floor or in her lap. She puts food on the floor for the dogs when we have food. I'm cleaning the house with Pine Sol and ammonia. The whole house had shit from front to back, all rooms and full, and bathroom had maggots.
Whoa.
Sorry for to have to say that, but it's the truth. Write very soon. Love you. And that's it. P.S. Hope you understand this letter.
Wow.
Yep. And then Kate actually writes a letter, and it's mailed in the same envelope. Dear O'Bara and Jack, will drop you 1 or 2 lines. I'm happy that these kids are here. They're cleaning my place up so good. That's about it. Just something about he's fixing the water pipes. And my yard was a mess, but it's getting cleaned up.
So it sounds like it was a good relationship then.
Sounds like
so
it.
Granted, it was a little actually it was a lot run down and pretty nasty, but it sounds like, Kate Rich is grateful for having Henry and Frida out there, and Frida and Henry were obviously, very into cleaning and helping, and send us the pipe, we'll fix the place up. So it seemed like, frankly, a pretty decent match of, gratuity both ways. Thanks for putting us up. We're going to help you clean it up. It is kind of nasty now, but we'll get it there. And then for Kate saying, they're doing a great job. Appreciate you sending them. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
But something happens then, and that's the other family.
Yeah. Apparently, O'Bara Smart contacted her sisters about this letter. She had 2 sisters that lived close by there, and they had kids that lived close by there. Mm-hmm. All this support system, and little Kate Rich living in squalor, living in filth, living with maggots. All right? And so here comes Henry and Becky. They take a little bit of money from Jack and O'Bara, and they clean the place up. And they're telling Jack and O'Bara, we need some more money, and this place is awful. Well, O'Bara contacts them, and guess what happens?
Well, they freaking get the boot.
They get the boot. The sisters come over and they tell Becky or Frida and Henry they have to leave. We want you out of here. We don't want you around our mother. We want you out of here now.
Yeah, and how they put it in the records is that they are run off the
Run
property
off.
by the family.
They made them pack and start walking down the road.
Yep. So
Oh my God.
So they got the boot on May 25th. Family shows up, boots them out, and literally, they are on the road hitchhiking again.
Yeah, 3 or 4 days later. I mean, get some of the crap out of the house, get some food in Faye, get her happy, get her talking about going to church with them, or getting them to go to church with her, and
Poof.
and
gone.
then poof, along comes the sisters, out of here,
Done.
out of here. And then shortly after that, this was when, May?
Yep. So this was May 25th. And what's really cool, though, is that while they're hitchhiking down the road, they're kicked out the 25th, exact same day, a gentleman by the name of Reuben Moore shows up.
God bless Reuben Moore.
And he was a minister, and he owned a roofing company. So he actually pulls to the side of the road and picks him up, which is really cool of him.
And he had like some extra barracks in places around his place where he let some of the people live.
Yeah, I guess
It
it
was
was
like a little-
described as like a campground.
It was like a little religious commune in a way.
Okay.
He had his own little church. It was called, we'll come across it in a minute, House of God or something like that.
It was the
House of Prayer.
House of Prayer.
House of Prayer. Yeah, and he ran the House of Prayer, and he was a sweet man. He really wanted to help give people a second chance. Ex-cons, people on the down and out, people who needed a break. He'd give them a job and let them work for him roofing and give them a place to stay.
Cool.
And he'd give them a good dose of religion while he was at it. Yeah. I mean, they would have their Bible studies, and the kitchen was the common meeting place.
Cool.
The kitchen was a common area, and that kitchen's going to be important later because the kitchen is where that gun was.
Right.
The gun that Henry got arrested over when they're claiming Henry was a felon in possession of a firearm, even though that firearm wasn't even in Henry's room. It was in the kitchen.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, the family of Kate Rich, they kick Henry and Becky out.
Yep. Gone.
And so then they're down the road with Reuben Moore.
Right.
But they still stop in and check on Kate every once in a while.
They do.
They
And-
liked her.
Right. And it's, from some of the records we have, it says that, he would pop over there from time to time to pick up tools that he may have left. He's been given a ride over there by multiple parties to pick up things or to go and see if she wants to go to church. And he would actually go swing by and pick her up to take her to church, or to Reuben Moore's church.
Yeah, and help her walk out to the car because she couldn't even walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, good relationship. So, we fast forward, and Henry and Frida are living at the House of Prayer with Reuben Moore. Things are good to go. All of June, July, they're there with Reuben Moore. And then we have a little discrepancy as to what happens in August of 82. And I guess we can probably touch base a little bit on it, and we'll go into it a little deeper. But this is the last time Frida is seen in the picture at all. And this is to kind of give just a little summary of it. They leave the House of Prayer and they start hitchhiking again in August. And then next thing you know, Lucas shows back up and Frida is not with him.
Right. This was on August 23rd of 1982. And Becky had been saying she was homesick.
Yes.
And she thought she was old enough that she could go back to Florida and not be in trouble with CPS, that she could kind of fend for herself.
Right.
And she was telling Henry she wanted to go back to Florida.
Yes.
And Henry didn't want to go back to Florida. He liked it with Reuben Moore.
Mm-hmm.
He had a steady job. Nobody was picking on him.
He had a sweet chicken coop.
Yeah. The chicken coop was over at Kate Rich's.
It was here. It was at House of Prayer.
House of Prayer? I thought he had a little apartment at House of Prayer.
It was an apartment that was converted from a chicken coop. This was
it had been.
This was that sweet chicken coop conversion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everything has potential. Do your best with it. Make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. And that's what they were trying to do. And Henry was enjoying it. And Henry liked Reuben Moore.
Yeah.
And Reuben was good to Henry. Reuben would loan Henry money.
Yes.
Henry ate better than he had ever eaten before. They kept groceries on the table. He was happy there. So they take off hitchhiking for, or did they take off hitchhiking or driving? No, hitchhiking.
It was hitchhiking.
Going to hitchhike to Florida. Thank you for listening to the Vic Feazell Show podcast. We're a primary source podcast. We don't just read about it and then talk about it. We talk about people we've known, things we've done. We're a primary source podcast. Leave a review. Sign up for our email list. And go visit our store. We have a page on www.vicfeazell.com.
This is Texas singer-songwriter Brian Burns, and I've been to Waco, Hico, Hondo, Navasota, Winsboro, Jacksboro, Hillsboro, Santa Rosa, Austin, Houston, Galveston, Texarkana, Frisco, Buffalo, Conroe, Corsicana, and that's just in the last week. Keep a safe pace, folks. Relax and drive laid back, because Texas is a laid-back place. And if you've been in a car wreck, call Vic Feazell at 877-WITH-VIC.
With principal offices in Waco and Austin, Texas.